Hello, this is Connor Super Goofy, and welcome back to another video. And welcome to what is going to be one of my favorite videos on the channel this year. The one that I've been looking forward to the most, going over my top 50 Connor's Hot List songs of 2025. I decided to release the list early on December 1st this year. And I'm going to be releasing it on that date every year in the future from now on. So, yeah. Um, I have decided to yeah, that is what I have decided to do. So, we are going to be counting them. We're gonna be counting down these songs on the year on hot list from 50 to 1. Now, um yeah, I actually so let's summarize the year. At the start of the year, everything at the start of the year, everything was really, really hot. Like GNX was taking over the hot list. Everything was really um like GNX was taking over the hot list at the time. We had like artists like Lady Gaga on there, like at the beginning of the year, stuff like The Weeknd. And then after I graduated from high school in May, things started to take a little bit of a downturn. Like a lot of a downturn. And from like June to October, um, when like things on the hot list were like really dark and downbeat. But I actually think that 2025 was a pretty good year for the hot list, all things considered. So, yeah, we're going to be this year. We're going to be counting down the 50 songs on the year-end hot list. I just finalized it as of the time I'm recording this, and it's going to be going out soon. So yeah. Here we go. Counting down the top 50 songs on Connor's Hot List of 2025. So we're gonna kick us off with the number 50 song on the list. Whoops. Okay, so number 50 we have Tyler the Creator, Sugar on My Tongue. Now, this is low on the list, so I'm gonna introduce you to a few rules that the year-end hot list has. Well, not necessarily rules, but like trends. Is that the later into the year that a song hits the hot list, the lower it tends to be. Like songs from like late like August to September, those songs don't usually end up placing above like 35 or 40. And so Sugar on My Tongue is low on the list because it was pretty late in the year that this song dominated the hot list, but it was number one in what was it, September. It was number one in it was number one in yeah, I was believe it was September that this song was number one on the hot list. And um it was it was either September or October that it got to number one. It hit the hot list in like August. So yeah. Um that is what we have at number 50. 49, we have Sir Napkin featuring Baby Lion, Just Dance 2025. This song was I discovered the song back in August, and this song hit to this song debuted on the hot list at number 45 and then the next day jumped straight to number 1. Like it had one of the quickest like explosions of a song on the hot list this year. In fact, it broke the record for the largest jump in Connor's hot list history of 44 spots. So it was like a 44 spot jump. Once again, this is low on the list because it didn't really hit the hot list until late in the summer, and it didn't stick around for too long after its big like peak run um on the hot list in August. So yeah, um that there we have it, number 45, 49, sorry. 48, The Blacker the Berry by Kendrick Lamar. We are going to have 5 To Pimp a Butterfly songs on here. This is the first of those. To Pimp a Butterfly had a big effect on the hot list, like pretty much throughout the entire year. And this was one of the first songs off that album to hit the hot list, and this is the first of 5 that we will be seeing today. This hit the hot list in January, and notably, it actually, when it got to number 1, it actually leaped 7 spots to get to number 1. It jumped from straight from number 8 to number 1, um, one day in January, which is pretty noteworthy, I should say. Um, don't really have much to say about this except hit number 1 in January, kind of fell back off the list shortly after that, but actually resurfaced in my rotation during the senior events in May and was able to return to the hot list in like July. So yeah, that we have at number 48. 47, Slow Hands by Niall Horan. This is another song that hit the hot list sometime around late January, like The Blacker the Berry did. And well, it didn't have that fast of a climb like The Blacker the Berry. It still hit number 1 on the hot list. I think it was right after the Super Bowl this year, which is I think pretty noteworthy as well. Um hit number 1 on the hot hitting number 1 on the hot list right after the Super Bowl. So yeah. Um this one stuck around for a little bit long. This one stuck around for a little bit longer than the Black or the Berry. I think it stuck around to like late March or early April on the hot list. I don't 100% remember, but yeah. Um 46, Disease by Lady Gaga. There are also going to be 4 songs off of Lady Gaga's album this year. Um The first one is Disease. This one first charted on the hot list right at the end of 2024, like in the final days of the year in December. It was like right before Christmas. And this is actually the first song to hit number 1 this year on the hot list. And fun fact, this is the first time that the first number 1 of the year made the year-end list since 2022. As in 2023, we had Everybody Talks by Neon Trees be the first number 1 song of the year, and it disappeared. It was gone. That song was gone by February. 2024, Everything I Need by Stray was the number 1 was the first number 1 song of 2024, and that was also gone in within a month or two. But Disease stuck around for quite a bit, actually. It stuck around to like March or April or so. It's honestly, I think there's an argument that it probably should be a little bit higher, but 46 I thought was the right spot. 45, No Role Models by J. Cole. This is credited as the first song to hit the hot list in 2025, and it had a pretty sharp climb up the hot list till hitting number one at around mid-January. I kind of associate I associate this song with some good memories in January of 2025. So this was a pretty good one, honestly. So yeah, No Role Models at number 45. 44, I by Kendrick Lamar. There were a record-breaking five songs to debut at number one this year on the Hot List. There were five songs that debuted at number one. I think I think the previous record was only one debuting at number one per year, and then 2024 we didn't have any songs debut at number one, although we did have five songs debut in the top 10. But in 2025, um, there were five songs that debuted at number one, and I by Kendrick Lamar is the first of those. I think most of the debuts at number one happened. Three of the five number one debuts happened in September. But this one actually happened in January. This one was like right at the beginning of the year, so still pretty early in January, and this song debuted at number one. Um, this didn't stick around for quite as long as it was expected to, which is why it only gets to number 44. But yeah, following this we have number 43, Starving by Haley Steinfeld and Gray featuring Zedd, which also debuted at number one, although this debuted at number one a lot later in the year than January, debuting at number one in June. This is actually the only other song to debut at number one that is actually on this list. The other three debuted in September, which is a little bit too late in the year, and none of them really lasted very long, so they didn't make this list. But Starving debuted at number one, and actually in June, and actually lasted a decent amount of time on the hot list. I actually associate this song with Chelsea's Party. If you don't know Chelsea, she was like my best friend from the golf team. And I went to her graduation party on May 31st, and this song hit the hot list at a time when I was still kind of um had the was still kind of in the aftermath of Chelsea's graduation party. So that's kind of what I associate it with. Um, there we have it at number 43. 42, Go Around by Nervinx. I think Nervinx himself was going to be surprised that this actually made the cut for the list. But this is another one like No Role Models where I associate this song with similar memories, and emotional bias is actually a factor on this list, if you didn't know. While this song didn't get to number one. It fell short, got to number two, and it didn't stick around for too terribly long. But still, um, they I kind of associate this song with some pretty good memories in January of 2025. So I had to put it on the list. Um, so. Yeah, I will say this right now. Emotional bias is um is a pretty big factor. So I'd like to introduce you to the first of these of a few themes that we have on the list. Starving here was the first song that follows that theme that we're seeing on the list, but um we need to talk about Todd in the Shadows. So Todd in the Shadows is a pop music reviewer on YouTube that I discovered back in January, and he really blew up in my rotation over the summer, and it got to a point where pretty much every other song that hit the hot list was a song that I discovered because of his channel. it he was that influential on the hot list this year. We will be seeing a lot more Todd in the Shadows songs later down the line on this list. Um, and yeah, there's at least one other, maybe a couple other themes that we're gonna be getting to on this list. So yeah, stick around for that. But 41 Trampoline, another Todd in the Shadows song, another song that I dug back up because saw on one of Todd in the Shadows' worst lists. A good chunk of the songs that I got from Todd in the Shadows this year were from the worst list. He does a video of the top 10 best and worst songs every year. Hit does it of hit songs and a lot of these a lot of songs that hit the hot list this year came from the worst list actually, which kind of goes to show that I have an actual pretty different taste from what Todd in the Shadows has. But Trampoline is one of those songs. This actually first charted on the hot list in 2019, back when it was out. But I won't say I really cared all that much about it back when it first came out. But then when dug it back up, and then I decided why not add it to my playlist in early 2023, but it didn't really go anywhere. So it just kind of sat there to rot away on my playlist without being listened to. And then I dug it back up in 2025, and all of a sudden, during the summer in like July, and all of a sudden I loved it. And it shot up the hot list and got to number one, and it actually stuck around for quite a long time. It's only really down here because of how late in the year it hit the hot list, but yeah, it was a pretty interesting story behind me like rediscovering this song and it getting on the hot list and getting to number one. 40 Sticky by Tyler the Creator featuring Glorilla, Sexy Red, and Lil Wayne. This is another Todd in the Shadows pick, but it actually came from the best list. It came from last year's best list, the best list for 2024. Um, and this song actually didn't go very far its first run up the chart. It got to like, what was it, it was like number 18 or something, and then kind of fell off. And then in August, it started to resurface in my rotation, and then it shot up the hot list and hit number one early in the school year. And it stuck around for quite a bit. It stuck around through September, October, I think it only like fell off the hot list this month. So yeah, Tyler the Creator with his second entry on this year's year-end hot list. 39 Needed Me by Rihanna. This is actually the latest in the year that a song that we'll be seeing today hit the hot list. This is the This hit the hot list right at the end of August. Which and there will be no songs that hit the hot list past this point making it to the year-end hot list. But this is actually pretty huge on the hot list in September, especially in October. October October had a pretty huge run at number one pretty late in the month. So yeah, um, thought I would mention that. It's not really anything noteworthy besides that. 38 Sicko Mode by Travis Scott. This is actually lower than I expected it to be, but I almost kind of not really forgot about it, but kind of ignored it after it kind of fell off the hot list. But this song hit the hot list in April right before prom. Um and it climbed up the hot list, got to number 12. Then it started to fall back down the hot list, but then during like all the senior events and stuff, suddenly it started to climb back up, and this got to number two in like the early summer. So yeah, this song did actually get pretty big on the hot list, but yeah, I only have it at 38. 37 Nokia by Drake. Biggest turnaround of the year. I originally thought this song was pretty bad. When I first heard it, I was kind of weirded out by it. Yeah, um, I um, I was kind of weirded out by that background vocalist's voice and stuff like that. And if you asked me about this song in March, I would tell you that this was a candidate for my worst list. Um, but and I actually got angry when they played this at prom and didn't play anything from Kendrick's new album or Not Like Us. Instead, they played this. And I actually got mad about that. But funnily enough, it being played at prom is kind of what caused me to turn around on it. The song grew on me very quickly in May, and this song, this song was actually the last number one of what it was technically the last number one on the hot list of my senior year of high school. So yeah, um, didn't really stick around much longer into the summer, so I can't really put it any higher than this. But yeah, pretty interesting story. Um, but yeah, 36, Good Credit by Playboi Carti and Kendrick Lamar. Um, I first music came out while me and my family were driving down to Universal Orlando, and this is actually the only song that I've heard on music that I liked. And even then it kind of wore out pretty quickly, but yeah, this song I attached to some pretty good moments this year, so yeah, I think it deserves to be up here. Don't really have that much to say about it, except that it's probably one of my least favorite songs that we'll be seeing today, like in terms of quality. And I think um I think Kendrick definitely carries this song, although it's definitely one of his less interesting verses that I've heard from him. Although yeah, Kendrick definitely carries this song though. I will say that. 35, Looney Tunja by Nervinx. This is a diss track that Nervinx wrote on one of his classmates, and it's actually one of the funniest songs of the year. I think that this is the first time that an actual part of the music of a song made me laugh. That kind of synth line at the beginning, the notes are arranged in a way that just kind of made me laugh. Like it's a goofy song, and then the part where he goes loony, punja, loony, punja is pretty funny as well. It isn't any higher than this because it didn't really take off at first. It kind of went like up and down. It didn't really take off until like May, and then it hit number one on the hot list in June. And then immediately after that, it fell straight back off the hot list. So it wasn't really important for most of the time it was on the hot list, which is why I can't really put it any higher than this. But yeah, definitely a pretty notable song anyway. I reviewed this song when it came out and gave it an 8 out of 10. 34, Hotbox by Lil Nas X. This is the only song this year that I actively wished would have become popular because um um like this song is really this song is definitely this song is definitely really good. I actually discovered this song while we were at Universal, and this actually reminds me of that last day in Orlando where we were going to what's it called? Disney World's Hollywood Studios. Yeah, that's what it's called. That was that's what the song reminds me of, and that carried the song a lot to where it ended up on the hot list. I will say that. The song hit number one right at the beginning of April. Um, it was only number one for a day though. 33, Phoebe Weeby. We have the what is this the first of my songs that we'll be seeing today? I think it is. Yeah. It's the first of my songs that we'll be seeing today. It's funny how this is like the smallest Connor Super Goofy song, Connor Super Goofy hit of the year that made the year on hot list. But there's actually a pretty big song. A lot of people really loved it. I released this on New Year's Day, and it very quickly made its way onto the hot list and got to number one. And I think it was in like I think it was in like February. I think it was in February that it got to number one on Connor's hot list. 32, Abracadabra by Lady Gaga. My family, my mom and my brother and sister absolutely loved this song this year, and it is and I will say it is probably my least favorite of the four Mayhem songs that we'll be seeing on this list, but it's definitely still like a great song. This actually had a pretty slow climb up the hot list. It hit the hot list for the first time like in March, and then it didn't get to number one till like mid to late April. So yeah, and this stayed on the hot list into like the summer as well. 31, All the Stars by Kendrick Lamar and SZA. I think it's time that we get to another one of the big themes that we have on the hot list this year, and that is the fact that number one songs on the hot list are becoming less important. This year, there were a lot of songs that didn't hit number one that were a lot more important to me than other songs that did hit number one. And that is always the case, but this year it was especially the case. The non-number ones felt ultra important this year. And there's another one much and there's a non-number one a lot later on the list that really holds the mantle for the decline in the importance of the number one song on the hot list this year. But this is one of those songs that didn't get to number one, but was somehow one of and didn't even last very long on the hot list, but is somehow one of the more important songs on the hot list, mainly because of my emotional connection. This song once again hit the hot list in January, like mid to late January, which means that I associate it with some pretty good memories at the beginning of the year, but I also associate it with the time that I played this song on the bus to the graduation ceremony, which is ultimately what ended up carrying the song all the way up here. 30, Devastated by Stray. This is the first of two Stray songs we'll be seeing. Um, and this one, so like I said, emotional bias gets factored into this list a lot. Um, there are several songs this year, on the list this year that, got a pretty big bump off of me associating them with the senior events in May. This is the first of those we'll be seeing. Although I guess technically, I guess Nokia also takes me back to that era, but that is more of that the memories I associate that song with are more me being home from the senior walks. This is the first song that we'll be seeing today that puts me right on the scene at the senior walks, and that is honestly what carried this high. Um, this song only got to number six, and it didn't stick around for that long. So So the fact that this song kind of takes me back to all the senior events and stuff, like this song, every time I hear this song, I immediately get teleported back to the hallways of my middle school during the senior walks, and that definitely helped carry this song to where it is on the list. So yeah, that we have at number 30. 29. We have The Weekend and Justice with Wake Me Up. This is a lot lower than I would have expected this song to end up on the year-end hot list back when it was big on the hot list, but this song was pretty big on the hot list. In fact, um it stuck around for quite a long time. This song hit the hot list in February, made it to number one. I think it was like the end of February, beginning of March, and it stuck around throughout the summer. Actually, it had quite some longevity. So why is it this low? Well, this is one of the few big songs on the hot list this year that I didn't really care all that much about after it was done being on the hot list. It kind of left my rotation, honestly, and that's the reason why it ended up this low. But still a noteworthy song, nonetheless. Moving on, 28, How Much a Dollar Cost by Kendrick Lamar featuring James Fauntleroy and Ronald Isley. This is our third To Pimp a Butterfly song on the list. Yeah, we still have two more. This one was the fifth one chronologically to hit the hot list, as this one shot up the hot list right after the 4th of July and took like 3 days to get to number one. So yeah, this one definitely had and this one had some longevity too as well. I think this is still on the hot list. I'm not 100% sure whether this is still on the hot list. I I I don't remember I don't remember it falling off actually, but yeah. Um yeah, this one's a pretty good one. Um 27 Mansions. This might be a surprise that it's here, but there are always a few songs that carry over from the previous year onto the next year's hot list, and Mansions was always going to be somewhere on this list. Like, I wasn't originally Okay. I wasn't originally gonna have it this high, but like it's Mansions. It's the biggest hit of my senior year on the hot list, and like it if any song is going to carry over and be this high on the following year on hot list, it's this one. So yeah, Mansions at number 27. 26. Family Ties by Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar. Funniest background story of any song on that hit the hot list this year. I've already hit you with the doozy of a story that came from Still DRE, with Aiden Navarez making replicating that beat on his computer and me sending it to myself through his computer while he was in the bathroom. But this is the closest that we'll get to that kind of story, that kind of background story on the hot list this year. I was actually first made aware that I've been aware that this song has existed for quite some time now, but I first heard this song um, during a Big Soap stream. So Big Soap was streaming Madden at the time, and he was like setting up all the controls and stuff. This was like in late January. He was setting up all the controls, doing all that, yada yada yada. And this song was playing, and it got to Kendrick's part, and it got to the part of the song where Kendrick was like, "Amazing, brother," and Big Soap noticed it, and he was like, "Wait a minute, this is booty music," and then he immediately went to the music settings and turned it off, and then ended the stream and restarted it. And that moment would be a top 10 Big Soap moment of the year had that not been deleted. So yeah. Um, but at the time, I didn't really know what the song was called or who it was by. I didn't even know that the amazing brother part was actually Kendrick. So it took until April where I was reintroduced to the song by, yes, Todd in the Shadows, to actually realize, oh yeah, that was the song from Big Soap's Madden stream, and from there it hit the hot list. Um, and it got to number one. I think it was like in early May. Yeah, I think it was early May that this song was number one on the hot list. So yeah, pretty funny backstory. 25 Shadow of a Man by Lady Gaga. This is another one from like March or so. There's a lot of March songs on this list. Yeah, there's a lot of them I'm noticing. Yeah, 25 is Shadow of a Man by Lady Gaga. Um, yeah. Um, this song hit this song hit the hot list right before we left for Universal Orlando. This song actually reminds me of um that tournament, that golf tournament that I played down at Morris Williams. That's what the song kind of reminds me of quite a bit as well. It reminds me of that of those moments. But yeah, that's 25. 24, Like a G6 by the Far East Movement. This song hit number one in February. This song hit the hot list in February, made it all the way to number one. Don't really have that much to say about it. Besides that, that run on the hot list. But yeah, um, this is yeah, it's a February song. This actually reminds me a lot of like that one senior meeting that we had in the gym in early February because that was right as the song was hitting the hot list. 23, Given Up on Me by The Weeknd. This is actually pretty high on the list for a song that hit the hot list as late in the year as it did, but this was dominant pretty much the entire second half of the year, so I couldn't really put it any lower than this. Um, we still have two more Hurry Up Tomorrow songs too. There's a lot of Hurry Up Tomorrow on this list also. There are four Hurry Up Tomorrow songs. We had Wake Me Up before, and now we have this. So yeah, um, Giving Up on Me. Um, um, I actually decided to check this. I actually decided to So yeah, this song hit the hot list in like this song hit the hot list while we were during the summer while we were on our trip to Ohio. I remember I first listened to this song while we were on the drive through while we were on the drive through like our some of our old neighborhoods when we were still looking through Ohio. This song didn't actually do that much on the hot list at first. It didn't do it kind of went up and then a little back down again in like the top like 30 or something. And then it didn't really like burst through and then get to number 1 until like early July. So and from there it pretty much dominated the rest of the year. It's still in like the top 20 now. So yeah. Um Pretty dominant song on the hot list. 22, That's Me by myself and Nervinx off of Life After Graduation. This accounts for both Nervinx's solo version that he released at the beginning of the year and the collaborative version that ended up on Life After Graduation. This song hit the hot list in early February and it got its big boost from the Super Bowl because there are some bars on Nervinx's second verse on this track where he disses the Kansas City Chiefs, and because of how well those bars ultimately aged because of them getting destroyed in the Super Bowl, that is actually what carried the song to number one on the hot list. So yeah, pretty interesting story behind this song. This was like number one in like February. So yeah. 21 Darcy by NIH State Line off of is um Dragons. This actually first hit the hot list in like November of 2024, like right before Thanksgiving break of that year. And it kind of slowly started climbing up the hot list, but then it started to fall back down again until Christmas break of last year, where it um like burst, and it ended up being the last new number one of on the hot list of 2024. Um, Running number one for 3 days, right at the end of the year. And this song just kind of lingered on throughout most of 2025. So it ended up being one of the biggest songs on the hot list this year. Um, 20, Call That Cap by myself and Nervinx off of Life After Graduation. Once again, just like with That's Me, this accounts for both Nervinx's solo version and the collaborative version that is on Life After Graduation. I reviewed this song as a Nervinx solo track back when it first released, and I give it a 5 out of 10. I wasn't that huge on it. But ultimately, hearing it a lot at Universal Orlando gave this song a chance to grow on me, and eventually it started climbing the hot list. Then I jumped on the song for the remix that ended up being the lead single for our album Life After Graduation, and from there it actually peaked at number four, making this another example of number one of it being less important to get to the number one spot on the hot list as well. This song made a run into the summer on Connor's hot list as well. 19 Wesley's Theory by Kendrick Lamar featuring George Clinton and Thundercat. Another song that got a big bump off the senior events. This is the only song that charted on the hot list from To Pimp a Butterfly to not make it to number one, falling just short at number two. And yeah, this song definitely got um this song definitely got carried by me being taken back to like um um the senior walks, like the elementary walks. This is another song that basically puts me right back on the scene of the elementary walks. Is Yeah, this is another one. I first discovered the song back in March, but it was right at the same time as another um To Pimp a Butterfly song that we'll be seeing later on the hot list that hit the hot list at the time instead. And then this song ultimately ended up hitting the hot list anyway in early May, and it got to number two, and it actually lasted a pretty long time on the hot list as well, lasted until like October. 18 Clouds by J. Cole. So yeah, this is yep, it's a J. Cole song. I don't really have this much to say except that I love the beat and the flow and the hook. And I also love some of the lyrics on this song. Um, and I guess a lot of these lyrics are just kind of repeating the obvious, but still, it's definitely It's definitely a good um I definitely like it like because of the sound and stuff as well. This song first hit the hot list like in late February. This went number one in early March as well. There's a lot of February, March, April songs on this list. That's pretty much like the sweet spot if you want to have like a high position on the year-end hot list. Just so you know. 17. Get Lucky by Daft Punk, Pharrell Williams, and Nile Rodgers. Um, this is another song that reminds me, this song is another song that got a big bump off of my association with the senior events. But this time it wasn't the elementary walks that this song um, takes me back to. It's the senior trip to Six Flags. Um, um, this song, that's what it reminds me of. This song got to number two over the summer, and yeah, um, another pretty memorable song from this year. So yeah, have it at number 17. Um, Number 16, we have The Thrills by Senpal featuring TBO George. I was blown away by this song when I first heard it in early April, and this song started climbing the hot list, got to number 10. Then it started to rapidly descend back down the hot list until May, once again, when the senior events came around and like the pool started opening up. This song actually reminds me of that first time we went to the pool and there was like a billion people there at the neighborhood pool in early May. So yeah, the song shot back up the hot list again, got to number one right towards the very end of my senior year and lasted pretty much the whole summer. So yeah, um um another pretty noteworthy song. 15 Mind's Eye by Stray. Stray released this song on my 18th birthday, which is a pretty notable fact about it, but also this song hit the hot list right after my birthday, and it actually took a while to finally get to number one. This song kind of hung around in like the top 5, top 10 range throughout most of April and most of May and didn't finally get to number one until pretty much at the time that we were graduating from high school. So yeah, this is actually number one on graduation day, which is pretty noteworthy. Although this doesn't really remind me of graduation day. This is another song that almost sort of kind of takes me back to the senior events as well. Okay, had to take a bit of a break from recording, but I am back now. Moving on, we have number 14. This is Way Down We Go by Coolio. This song, I remember the day that I first rediscovered it. It was early March. This is the same day that I'd actually been told that I had to take my diss tracks on Carlos Lujan down from streaming services. It was that same day, and this was when me and my mom were going to pick up my brother and sister, and my mom likes to listen to this one rock station, and that's where I heard this song, and it hit the hot list immediately after and went to number one while we were at Universal Orlando and managed to stick around until around like the late summertime, and then it actually came back right at the end of November. So yeah, this song's been around for a little. The song's been around for a little bit. All right, moving on. 13. Nihilism by NIH State Line. So, yeah, this is a pretty huge one. So yeah, we saw Darcy earlier, but Nihilism actually charted on the hot list in February. It had a very very slow climb up the hot list. Um, it didn't hit number one till like the till like late March, and then but it actually ran number one for 11 days, and we're gonna start to see songs that actually ran for a pretty long time on the hot list soon. And this one managed to stick around for a while. I think it was around till what was it, like September or October. It was around for a while. Nihilism was. Number 12, King Kunta from Kendrick Lamar. This is our fifth and final To Pimp a Butterfly song on here, and this is the biggest one, as you probably could have guessed. And yeah, this song was a right after we got home from Universal, I discovered this song, and it immediately hit the hot list and shot up into the top five. And like Mind's Eye, though, it didn't really ever get to the number one spot until after my senior year ended, in which it was number one, and which it hit number one um right after that last day of school. So it actually took multiple months to get to number one, like Mind's Eye did. Um, and and it also managed to stick around for quite a bit as well. So yeah, um, that's number 12. 11, Garden of Eden by Lady Gaga. This one I was gonna have in the top 10 for quite a long time. Unfortunately, I had to bump it out of the top 10 to number 11. But yeah, this song. I remember when I first heard this song. It was the day that the album came out, and I was before the school day starts. I would before the school day started, I would go visit with a teacher, and I was visiting with um, my U.S. history teacher's next door neighbor, Miss Mullen. My U.S. history teacher was Coach Bonner. Miss Mullen was next door. That's who I was visiting, and she had this song playing on the classroom speakers, and that's how I first heard it. And then it immediately hit the hot list, and it was number one for 9 of the 11 days that we were at Universal Orlando. So yeah, that is number 11. All right. Are you ready for the top 10? Are you ready for the 10 biggest Connor's Hot List songs of the year? It's time to reveal them to you. All right, here we go. Three, two, one. 10 Come With You by Timmy Newboy featuring Erickson.
Oh god, it's so loud.
So obviously the fact that I associate this song with the butter soda moment um obviously carries this song very far. But this is also a pretty huge song on the hot list in itself, by the way. Um this song hit the hot list. The song I first discovered it the on the day that the butter soda funny moment happened, which is why I associate it with that. And the song very quickly climbed up Connor's hot list in the last couple days of December, and hit number one in very early January. But the song stuck around for quite a while. The song stuck around till about June as well. So it actually is one of the biggest songs on Connor's Hot List this year. Um, So yeah, that is what I have at number 10. All right, number 9, Know Yourself by Drake. This is probably the biggest non-number one Connor's Hot List hit that I've had in quite a while. The song actually first charted on the Hot List in January, but only got up to number 7 and then immediately disappeared. Had stayed out of my rotation in February, but started to sneak back in while we were at Universal, and kind of hung on the low end, like kind of just hung around in my rotation in throughout April, and then in May it finally broke through again on the hot list, only to be stopped short by a song that we will be seeing later in the list, before getting to number 1. But regardless of that, the song stayed on the hot list all summer and is still on the hot list right now as I release this year-end hot list. So yeah, pretty big success on the hot list for Know Yourself. 8, Squabble Up by Kendrick Lamar. Believe it or not, this is the only GNX track on the list. I was gonna have other GNX tracks on here, but they were all gonna be pretty low down in the top 50, and they all got driven out at basically the last minute. Squabble Up was the only one that was really big enough on the hot list to really hold the mantle for GNX on the hot list. Um, so yeah, this song hit first hit the hot list at the beginning of Christmas break last year and kind of hung around in the lower end of the hot list for the rest of December 2024 and before um catching fire on the hot list in January and getting to number 1. Um and then and yeah, the song hung around for quite a long time on the hot list actually. We're getting to songs that actually had pretty huge runs on the hot list. This one got this one in fact made it to I think it was either August or September on the hot list as well. So this one was on the hot list for quite a long time. So yeah, we have that at number 8. 7, Cry for Me by The Weeknd. Yep, this is not even the highest weekend song either. But yeah, here at number 7 we have The Weeknd and yeah, what can I tell you? The Weeknd had a big year on the hot list. I wasn't huge on this song when I first heard it. It took a little bit to grow on me, which is why it took over a month actually to get to number 1. This song snuck onto the hot list in early February and it's kind of hung around for a little bit before shooting up the hot list in early March to get to number 1. And then from there it was a pretty big song on the hot list. It actually fell off, but it's back on the hot list now. And yeah, it's one of the biggest Connor's Hot List songs of the year. 6, Chained to the Rhythm by Katy Perry featuring Skip Marley. 7 of of the top 10 songs um I was considering for number 1 at one point. Um it was a very tight race for the number 1 spot. I was considering this for the number 1 spot at points during the year, as well as Squabble Up and Come With You and um um some more songs that we'll be getting to as we climb our way to the top. But this has actually got a pretty interesting story behind how I found it. I don't think I've ever put a guilty pleasure this high on the list on the year-end list, by the way. This wasn't my guiltiest pleasure of the year, but it certainly was the biggest one. I first discovered this song when I heard it on the entry, heard it on the speakers at the entry gate to Universal, like the entrance to the park. They play songs on the speakers there, and this is one of the songs that I heard on the speakers. I didn't know the name or who sang it at the time. Um, um, so I was very lucky to actually find out what the song was just 2 weeks later, and from there, like the song shot up the hot list and got to number one. I believe it actually got to number one on the day of prom as well, which is pretty notable as well. But this song lasted all spring, all summer, and most of the fall. It only recently fell off the hot list. And it would have been higher actually if it had had the staying power to make it to where we are now, but unfortunately it didn't quite get there. All right, moving on to the top five. Five, Hooligans by myself and Nervinx featuring Skittles. The biggest hit off of Life After Graduation. This broke personal records pretty much immediately. Within days of the song being released, it was my most streamed song across all platforms. And it was also my first song to get to 1,000 plays between platforms as well. Um, Getting over 300 on both Spotify and SoundCloud, almost getting to 400 on SoundCloud, getting past 200 on YouTube, getting pretty close to 300 on YouTube, and almost 100 on BandLab, and then of course on Apple Music it had like 30 or something plays, but I don't get as much attention on Apple Music as I do Spotify. But yeah, and it broke a lot of these records within like 3 days. This song shot immediately to the top of the hot list, right at the end of April, beginning of May, and it stuck around for quite a while. Another song that fell off the hot list but has recently come back, um, in the light of it getting more plays on Spotify recently, but yeah, pretty huge success of a song, and this song basically carried the popularity of Life After Graduation. Four, Sao Paulo, The Weeknd and Anita. All right. When a song gets in stuck in my head during one of the most memorable parts of the year, it is almost guaranteed to get to number one and score a high position on the year-end hot list. Sao Paulo, I could not get out of my head when we were at the park at Universal on the Wednesday that we were there. And that definitely helped carry the song to the huge heights that it would get to on the hot list afterwards. Um, yeah, this is a pretty big event of a Connor's Hot List song this year, and this is another song that I was also genuinely considering for the number one spot. Ultimately, other songs um came along later on that would wipe this song off the number one spot, but yeah, definitely definitely some good memories that I had with this one. All right. Three, Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar. I've been aware that this song existed for a while, but I was introduced to it through Todd in the Shadows, and Todd in the Shadows gave me a lot of my Connor's Hot List songs this year. But Swimming Pools came to me in April, pretty much the day of prom as well, is when this song first hit the hot list. but it didn't really do much right out of the gate or for the first month and a half that it was on the hot list. It kind of lingered around in the lower half of the hot list for a while. Um, um, and then June came, and then the song absolutely exploded on the hot list, getting to number one, and then sticking around in the top 10 throughout all of July, and then getting back to number one in late July, early August. Then it kind of fell back a little bit, and then it actually came back to number one again in November. So, yeah, this song has had quite the run on the hot list, and it doesn't look like it's anywhere close to over. All right. I struggled very, very hard with my number one pick this year. Um, it was a very, very close race ultimately that came down to a wire between my number two and my number one. But ultimately, this next song lost out on my pick to be the number one song of the year, but it's still a very great and very important song that absolutely dominated the year, so it definitely deserves its spot as my number two song of the year on Connor's hot list. Two, Airplane by Senpal. This song this song only missed out on being my number one song of the year on the grounds that it actually never hit number one this year. This song first charted on the hot list in late November, early December of last year of 2024, and it got to number one. um I remember it was right before finals. It was right before winter finals of my senior year. And then it just kind of stuck around the entire year. It's still on the hot list. It hasn't fallen off yet. It has been Airplane by Senpal has been on the hot list for pretty much an entire year now. And ultimately because of that, I couldn't put it any lower than number two. But ultimately, like, there was pretty much ultimately at the end, I had to be honest with myself. This next one had to be the number one pick on the hot list. One N95 by Kendrick Lamar. So, um, I, so this song got big on the hot list because of a very short clip that Todd in the Shadows played of it during the segment for a different Kendrick song that was on his 2022 best list. Um, and that small clip happened to send the song onto the hot list right at the perfect moment because it was just at the time that I was graduating high school, and which ultimately ended up getting this song ultimately meant that I basically graduated high school to this song. N95 was my graduation anthem this year, and then the next night I actually went with 100 with the probably about 100 other graduates to Parks Pizza, and we had basically like a party there overnight. And N95 was basically the only song that I played while I was there. Like like figuratively. Like I did of course play other songs, but like I could couldn't stop playing the song while I was there. And as a result of that, the song made a 34 spot leap to number 1 the next morning. And then from there the rest is history. The song dominated the month of June on the hot list, and um is and it recently started climbing back up and got to number one again in mid to late November. So yeah, that is my number one song on Connor's Hot List. So, before we go, I would like to list off a few honorable mentions that didn't quite make the list, but I thought were worth mentioning anyway. And by a few honorable mentions, I mean like there's 27 of them. There's 27 honorable mentions that I have to. I'm going to just brush through them real quick, so we don't have to be here all day. Um, First we have Switchblade by Senpal, which was actually one of the last cuts that I made from the list. Hey Now by Kendrick Lamar featuring Dodie Six is an honorable mention, as well as Dodger Blue by Kendrick Lamar featuring Wally the Sensei, Siete Seven Times, and Roddy Ricch. We Still Don't Trust You by Future, Metro Boomin, and The Weeknd. Kind of Stupid by Senpal, River Jams by myself, Reflections Laughing by The Weeknd, Travis Scott, and Florence and the Machine, Turnt by NIH State Line, which was actually a big Connor's Hot List hit at the end of last year, Life on Hold by NIH State Line featuring M3 Flowey, um, Bulletproof by LaRue, Madness by Muse, Take It Off by Kesha, which is the third of our number one debuts this year. Mi Gente by J Balvin and Willie William, which is the fourth debut at number one. Bon Appetit by Katy Perry featuring Migos was the fifth song to and final song to debut at number one this year. We have and now let's get into some from really late in the year. Tears by Sabrina Carpenter. The Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift. Midnight City by M83. This one was actually introduced to me by my brother and sister. Golden by Huntrix from K-pop Demon Hunters is also an honorable mention. Um, Feels by Calvin Harris, Slide by Calvin Harris, Pink plus White by Frank Ocean. I would like to give an honorable mention to We Own the Night by Alejandro, a Rocket League song that got big on the hot list because I noticed it when I was watching a Big Soap Rocket League stream back in July. Love Sosa by Chief Keef, another song that I mainly associate with the senior trip, but unfortunately didn't quite make it to the year-end hot list this year. Love Me Not by Raven Lenae, Pumpkin Part 1 by C418, which is another song that got pretty huge on the hot list in March. Hymn for the Weekend by Coldplay, and finally One More Time by Daft Punk is our final honorable mention for this year. Yep, that was the year-end hot list for 2025. See ya for obviously my Spotify rap video and stuff like the top 10 big soap moments of the year and the worst songs of this year according to me, all coming this month in December. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.